We're going to go ahead and get things started. Right before I hand things over to Andrew, I'm going to open up a poll. We're going to do a couple of these as we get started. This first one's just an icebreaker poll, so I'm going to launch this. This should just show up as kind of a pop-up on your screen right now. And you guys can go ahead and start answering this. This will tell us kind of like what your situation is today. I'm going to just share the results with you. So it looks like by quite a bit, our pets might be our biggest interruption today. So we're all good with that. Again, we can't see you, so we won't see that happen. We'll just let you take care of that as you go. And then we're going to go ahead and throw one more. We just kind of want to know what roles you're all playing today. Okay, so it looks like about half on-site property management professionals and half other. I wouldn't mind knowing if you guys want to throw in the chat room, what is other? What are the roles that you're filling that are not indicated there? Controller. I'm going to go ahead and end this for now. Training. Hi, Jason. Okay. Onboarding, operations, compliance. Okay, this is all good to know. All right, Andrew, I think we're ready for you to take it away. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to hand this over to Andrew to go ahead and get into our content for the day. And again, feel free to throw your questions. I see lots of you have already done that, and we'll answer those at the end of the presentation today.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks, Sloan, for the introduction, and thanks, everybody, for having me here. Today, I'm going to be talking about COVID-19 data trends and strategies from a digital marketing standpoint. So for those of you, I guess you all don't know me probably. My name's Andrew Cederland. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Conversion Logix. We are a digital marketing and software company based here in Seattle. We also have an office in Austin, Texas, and people all over the country, but our main hub is here. We're a premier Google partner, Facebook marketing partner. We've been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies for the last 5 years, which has been a cool treat for us. We have about 1,000 multifamily housing client customers across the United States. And so a lot of the data that you're going to see is drawn from that entire data set that we have, as well as some specific data around the Pacific Northwest and how there's a little bit of a difference there that we'll see. So today we're going to be talking about the state of the multifamily housing market as it relates to digital marketing, the impact of those current trends, and then adapting and strategizing. What are we all supposed to do now that things are very different than they were 30 days ago? And we're kind of living through unprecedented times. And so how are we going to adapt and overcome and do what we can to move forward? So state of the multifamily housing market. So this first chart shows website sessions over time. This is looking at website sessions from December 29th through March 29th. This is pulled from Google Analytics. This is looking at, just who's going to websites. And so you can see here that over the course of the last few months, as we've headed into the spring, the website sessions have increased as we'd expect, going into spring and summer and some of the, basically the top leasing season. Then right there around the end of February, beginning of March is the big sort of COVID crater where a lot of the activity dropped off, a ton of uncertainty in the market. Uncertainty creates indecision, people pull out. But a bright spot that we've actually seen over the last couple of weeks is a little bit of an uptick in website activity over the last week, and I'll show you that here shortly, which is really an encouraging sign for the market starting to come back. You can see here, if you look at the very end of the chart, it's almost even with where we were right at the beginning of February and in end of January, which is not the same as we normally would see this time in the leasing cycle and in seasonality as the seasonality goes, but it's better than it was a couple of weeks ago. This is looking at that same chart, national versus Pacific Northwest. So you can see that they track really, really closely. The biggest thing that I wanted to highlight here is the fact that Pacific Northwest started to fall off earlier than we saw in national, which makes sense. We were hit first with all of the COVID lockdown and really just a lot of the cases. We were the epicenter for a while, as we all know. And so largely it mirrors what we see nationally, but a little bit of a steeper drop off and still a little bit steeper of a decline overall as compared to the national market. So looking at 3 weeks over 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks versus the prior. So overall organic traffic to websites has dropped about 24%. Paid traffic in that same time period is up 2.1%. A large part of that is due to people spending more time online. And so there's a lot more people on Facebook and more people coming through those channels than they were 30 days ago. These declines, as far as organic traffic goes, that's coming off of that sort of high that we saw there at the end of February. And then week over week, we actually are, like I showed you on that chart, we're seeing an increase. So this is an encouraging sign that we've reached the bottom of what we would expect to see. And so organic traffic is up 9.7% week over week. Paid traffic is up 12.9%. Paid traffic is traffic that you pay for. So if you're doing Google search ads, pay-per-click search engine marketing, that's paid traffic. Facebook ads, display, anything that you're paying for. So a pay-per-click, or you have a, you're paying for impressions, but people click on it. Any sort of paid ads versus organic traffic, which is somebody that just comes to your website without coming through a paid source. This next chart, we're looking at marketing performance. So this is looking at the different channels for marketing. These are the different channels that we operate in as a company, and this is what we have the data for. And this is looking at week over week performance across paid search, which is Google search ads. So pay-per-click ads that appear at the top. You type in apartments, South Lake Union, a couple of ads appear at the top. That's paid search. 3D is our data-driven display product that is targeting potential renters with display ads that you would, we're all familiar with display ads, but that's sort of targeting in-market shoppers versus targeting people that already know about you. Retargeting is something that we're all familiar with. You go to a website, you get retargeted with ads. It's a nurturing tool. That's what retargeting is. And then Facebook and Instagram, we're all familiar with, and then YouTube as well. And so these are all paid tactics. So this isn't the number of impressions and clicks that are coming from, posting on Facebook and people coming to your site, through organic postings. This is paying to reach in-market renters or retargeting or people on YouTube with your specific ads. So a couple of things to highlight in this chart is that first of all there's a huge amount of activity increase across display, Facebook, and Instagram. Those basically every week we've been doing, as a company, we've actually been doing weekly webinars talking through the data that we're seeing to help clients and just people in the industry figure out, how everything's shaking out as we navigate through this. And paid search up until this week had actually shown declines over the last few weeks. This is the first week that we've seen a rebound in paid search, and that indicates that there's more people out there searching than there was a couple of weeks ago, which again is a very encouraging sign. Impressions going up 13% means that there's 13% more searches out there than there were a week ago. So that's people searching for, apartments near me, 2-bedroom apartment, whatever it might be. Facebook, Instagram, retargeting, and our data-driven display, that's really reflective of overall increase in internet activity. A lot of people are quote unquote working from home, and apparently that's turned into a lot of browsing on Facebook and Instagram from home and reading news articles. And so we've seen a huge amount of impressions and clicks and just engagement increase overall in those strategies, just because there's so much more volume there than there was 30 days ago. YouTube on this chart shows a decline week over week, but YouTube actually has had the largest gains over the last couple of weeks as more people are spending time. So this is really this last week, they've sort of pared back some of the gains that they had. And I think that their increase was unsustainable. So this makes sense to me. I would be very surprised if Facebook and Instagram continue to grow engagement at double-digit percentages just because they've been doing that for the last 3 weeks. But we appear to have an insatiable appetite for the internet right now, as there's nothing else for us to do. So we'll see how it continues moving forward. So what's the impact of these current trends on conversions? So this chart shows store visit conversions. Store visit is a conversion inside of the Google Ads platform, and it actually measures when somebody shows up to your leasing office. And so what this shows us is people that search for an ad, they saw one of the ads on Google search, go to your website, they end up converting locally at your leasing office. They'll show up as a store visit conversion. So when you look at this chart, you can see that obviously PNW and National, they map pretty closely. There's a fair amount of store visit conversions coming through, and then they both start to decelerate as people start closing their leasing offices. So you can see over this last week, this is across every account that we have, there's 200 or so conversions for people that are showing up in stores. So there's still some leasing offices open somewhere. I'm not sure where, but obviously in Pacific Northwest, there are none. And so what does this mean for, I guess, overall conversions and online conversions? And one thing that's a bright spot here is that while store visit conversions have gone down because your leasing office is not available, online conversions from some of the platforms we have actually increased. So this chart maps store visits versus TCC leads. TCC is short for the Conversion Cloud. It's a suite of software products that we have. It's they're lead generation tools. So it's a tour scheduler, it's an offer concession manager, and a couple of other tools, and they're designed to help you convert people that come to your website. And so this is analyzing all of the people that have converted through the Conversion Cloud over the last couple of months. And so what we see is that the leads that we're seeing that we're generating for clients maps extremely closely to store visits, which makes sense. If somebody converts on your website, they schedule a tour, they're going to come in and take that tour the next couple of days. Or if they claim an offer, they're going to come in and, you know, sign a lease or come tour at some point. So it makes sense that these would map pretty closely. But as store visits have dropped off, online conversions have actually risen over this time period. You can see it's actually the highest it's ever been because people don't have other conversion options. They're turning to the internet and your website as the only place to convert. So over the last week, this is week over week, and we've seen this trend over the last few weeks, is that the total amount of leads that have come through our Conversion Cloud platform are up 12%. And then we also have a live chat team that answers chats for leasing teams 7 days a week. And those requests and inquiries have increased 34%. So what that shows is that people are still converting. They're looking to move, a lot of them, but the only option they have is to go on your website. So they're using every tool that you have on your website to convert. This chart shows goal completions over time. So this is looking at Google Analytics goal completions. A goal completion can be anything that you set up on your website. So it can be anything from a contact form fill out, more of a kind of a hard lead, we would call that, where it results in a name, email, and phone number. Our Conversion Cloud leads are an example of a hard lead where you're actually getting somebody's information. You also have soft conversion, which is more of an intent-based conversion. So you might be looking at something like, oh, they visited the floor plan page. And different companies map conversions differently. Usually it's a combination of soft and hard conversions to get a general sense of what people are looking at on your website and what your traffic is doing. So this chart shows all goal completions aggregated across all of our customers, normalized over the last couple of months, 3 months to be exact. And so what we see is it matches website sessions obviously very closely. People have to be going to your website in order for them to convert. And so again, we're seeing pretty healthy growth as we head into the spring leasing season, the COVID decline, and then now I gotta find a better name for that than the COVID decline. Maybe I'll try and trademark something. And then a nice sharp increase over the last couple of weeks, as I think a lot of the uncertainty and some of the familiarization with, okay, we're all at home, you know, the world isn't necessarily ending. We're just adjusting to the new normal. And I think that we're starting to see people come back and at least adjust to their new surroundings. And that means that they're returning to the things that they were doing before, which is, you know, search for an apartment in this case. Another thing to note about this current cycle that we're in is winter and heading into spring is a very long leasing cycle. So you can see there on the March bar chart there, 54% of all people searching in the month of March. I know that this is April 2nd, and we can look at April as well. But for March, 54%, and April, 49% of all people searching right now aren't going to move for more than 3 months. And then an additional 14% aren't going to move for more than 2 months. So all of the people that you're driving to your website right now are not going to be moving for a couple of months. And it's important to keep your line in the water and important to keep your online marketing going, because your website is the only place that people have to reach you. And so knowing that a lot of the people that are hitting your website right now won't be moving in for a few months means that you really need to make sure that you're capitalizing on the website traffic that's currently there, because in 2 or 3 months, when the the shelter in place orders are lifted and everything sort of comes back to normal, you want to make sure that your pipeline's full of potential applicants and that you're even converting people right now and giving them flexible move-in dates for a couple of months down the road, which I've seen some clients do with great success. Part 3 is adapt and strategize. So how do you make the most of the situation that we're currently in? So one is adjust your marketing. You want to make sure that everything you do speaks to your current situation as a community. If you're doing virtual tours or FaceTime tours, all of your marketing should have the call to action, speaking to that. You also want to improve your operations. Anything that you can do to set up your team to be as effective as possible, making sure that you have all of your systems in place to enable your leasing team to do their jobs the best they possibly can. And so, making sure you have the right tools, that all of your leads from your various, I guess if you have a tour scheduler or contact form or whatever, phone calls, that they're all getting routed to the appropriate place. Next is you want to invest in your paid media. We saw a big decline in organic traffic. And so the paid media has actually been up this entire time. And there's still a ton of people in market. And so it's important that while your organic traffic is falling, that you're backfilling it with some paid traffic that comes from places like Facebook and Google and general display networks. And it's remained really stable throughout this whole time. And it's been a great way for communities to sort of backfill a lower overall web traffic. And then last is leverage social advertising. This isn't necessarily posting on Facebook, but more of actually like doing a Facebook marketing campaign or ad campaign, just because there's so many more people spending. I mean, you saw the charts. I think Facebook announced that there's been a 20 or 30% increase in activity on their apps over this whole crisis. And I think we all spent a lot of time on Instagram anyway. So the fact that we could go up 30% is a little bit shocking and kind of frightening to me, but here we are. And welcome to 2020. And so leverage social advertising. There's a huge audience there. They're bored doing nothing. A lot of them, you can still target the best possible audience of in-market people that are looking to rent. And it's a great way to seize the opportunity to reach these people as they're browsing around. Next, you want to make sure you retarget and nurture your prospects. Again, we're in a very long leasing cycle right now. And so, and there's still a little bit of uncertainty on when people can actually move in. So making sure that we're nurturing people, being flexible with move-in dates, make sure you're using retargeting. You want to use display, Facebook, Instagram, any retargeting campaign channel that you have to make sure that you're staying in front of people. For those of you that don't know, retargeting is going to a website and seeing ads for what you search for after the fact. It's a great way to stay in front of people as they continue to go along their leasing journey. Next is use email. We've actually seen email conversions increase about 30% month over month, which makes a lot of sense because right now, when people get an email from your community, if they want to take action, they have to go on your website and take action and convert in some way, versus in the past, if they got an email from you and they liked the offer, they might have just walked in or they might have called you. And so we're seeing phenomenal response from all of the email campaigns that we're running for clients right now. And it's a great way to get your message out, to let them know what you're doing as a community to stay clean and stay safe for people that are either living there, if it's a resident email, or just for prospects to know that you're taking this crisis seriously and making sure that it's a safe place for people to live. Adjust your conversion strategy. So use a scheduling tool. We have one called Schedule Genie that we've had a huge adoption of it during this time for people that didn't already have one in place. There's a lot of different ones out there. If you use ours, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Just get one on your website. It's a really great way to schedule virtual tours. I think right now people, they want to know what they're getting when they convert somewhere. So sending in a contact form and not knowing when they're going to get a reply, that's not as effective as them being able to choose a date and a time and know that they're going to talk to somebody on the other end and get to do a walkthrough or a FaceTime tour or whatever it is. Promote your offers liberally all over your website. I think concessions are really, really important right now. We've seen on our concession manager tool an increase in leads overall because people are a lot more price sensitive right now than they were. And there's a lot of very aggressive, strong concessions out there right now. I've seen a lot of 8 weeks free, which I haven't seen for a little while. And so making sure that you promote those to people is important. And then make sure that you can answer prospects' questions. So using a live chat tool or just being very responsive in phone calls and any sort of conversions. I think in general, obviously we always want to be responsive, but having tools in place to talk to people and convert them and answer their questions as quickly and easily as possible is even more important now than it was before. Here's an example of a client of ours. They're actually in LA. When you go to their website, this pop-up shows up, and then it lets them know how to take next steps. And it's really important to inform prospects exactly what your community is doing during this time. You know, what sort of tour are they going to get? Are they going to get a FaceTime tour? Are you just going to send them a video clip of them walking through, you know, helping them understand what the process looks like? This is new for everybody. I know it's new for all of you leasing agents that are used to be able to, you know, you're used to closing somebody in person or being able to do a tour, and you're now navigating through how do I give an effective tour over the internet. And but just letting the prospect understand the process is a great thing to do. Break down barriers on your website. Again, I think right now we've seen a decrease in overall organic traffic, and so it's more important that you convert the traffic that's coming to your website than ever before. If you have a lower percentage of people, you want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to get as many conversions as possible. So here's an example of that same website. You can see they have their concession across the top, really big, 8 weeks free, immediate move-ins. You can see in the bottom right corner here, it's actually our Conversion Cloud tool. There's live chat, schedule a virtual appointment, and then the limited time offer, which is where they actually can claim that 8-week free offer, which then will become a lead. It gets sent out to the leasing team and they can follow up accordingly. Here's another example of a local client, Ascent South Lake Union, schedule a virtual appointment, special leasing offer. They actually had an increase in leads the first week that we changed the offer to virtual appointment. I think they went up 20% or so week over week. And we've actually had a lot of clients, you know, have lead increases over the last couple of weeks than they had sort of pre-COVID. A lot of that's due to some of the stronger concessions they're offering, but in general, it's also because it's the only conversion option available. They can't go, you know, they can't drive by, they can't walk in. This is all that prospects have is your website. So key takeaways, you want to make sure that you have the strongest digital presence as possible because you have to compensate for the dropping in-person traffic. Strengthen your paid strategy, whatever your marketing that you're doing. You want to make sure that you're capitalizing on it because the sharp declines in organic results, you need to make sure you can backfill that with this more stable paid traffic. Create a digital leasing journey, or at least help prospects understand what to expect when they go and convert on your site. You know, what are the steps that they're going to go through, you know, in order to lease. And then extract as many leads as possible from your website by adding conversion tools. You know, get a scheduler in place, get an offer manager in place. Do what you can to convert every single visitor that comes to your website. So that is my presentation for the data trends in the multifamily housing market right now. Everything is changing all the time. I think there's another press conference. Sloan let me know that Governor Inslee is going to have a press conference today at 5, and we'll see what comes of that. But at least for right now, you know, it looks like we're going to be sheltered in place for the foreseeable future. And so, yeah, as you adapt to this new normal, doing whatever you can to get the most out of your website is very, very important. So, yeah.
Andrew, thank you so much. That was all really excellent information. We did one question that came in a few moments ago. Are you able to see that there?
Yes. So it says, have you seen increases across all paid media channels, or are some different than others? Also, have costs been driven up with more advertisers? So actually, costs have been driven down for most channels other than paid search, just because of supply and demand. So when you look at, you know, there's a huge increase of supply on Facebook and Instagram because there's way more people browsing around. And so when there's more available inventory, you know, costs go down. For search, there were a lot fewer people searching over the last couple of weeks, so cost per clicks went up because there were fewer searches that were available to bid on. And so obviously the auction, you know, rules mean that the price would go up on those clicks. And so the slides will get sent to you after this, where you can see sort of the specific increases and decreases for each channel earlier in the presentation if you want to take a look at that as well.
Awesome, thank you. All right, do we have any other questions for Andrew before we wrap things up here today? Going once? Oh, great, yes. So When
So
was all of this data last updated? I think this is like literally within a week, right?
Yeah, so we pull stats every Monday morning for the prior week. So this is the week ending on Sunday versus the prior week, and then the 3-week period ending on Sunday versus the prior 3 weeks. So this data is only 3 days old, and then we'll have fresh data coming out for next week on Wednesday. We do weekly webinars. You can sign up on our website if you want to see the next one to kind of see what the data is continuing to do. But yeah, we get fresh data every week.
And Andrew does have his contact information there. I dropped their website onto the chat feature there also. Marissa, you're welcome. We're happy to do it. And also just thank you again, Andrew, for leaning in so quickly. I mean, we just kind of put a call out to our suppliers that had relevant information, and Andrew responded very quickly and put this together quickly and was generous with his time. So we appreciate that. Some of these are coming into the chat and some to the questions. So
I'll answer the question about data trends. So we have the ones that we have are the last 3 weeks, at least for the percentage drops. But you can see, again, when you look at the slides, you'll be able to see kind of that chart over time and see that there was an increase in February and then where the decrease, and now that we're coming back. So we have 3-month trends, and then you can kind of take whatever 4-week chunk you want out of there to look at yourself.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, a couple of closing remarks I have for you. One, don't forget, when I end this, you're gonna see a quick survey. It's gonna look like a Zoom survey, but it's actually a WMFHA survey that we created for you. So if you could answer that, that would be great. Our next webinar is actually going to be next Tuesday. Our next 6 feet apart is going to be on keeping your residents engaged and encouraged during this time. From a safe distance, our friends Alyssa and Cody Adams from Atmosphere Media are going to be sharing some great ideas with us. I've dropped a link on the chat there where you can get signed up for that. Again, we'll have 100 spots available there. As Andrew mentioned, the governor is have a press conference today at 5. We encourage you to grab what information comes out of that because things are changing all the time. We want to see up to date. You can be sure that WMFHA will kind of collate that information and get it out to you as well. Also, I wanted to just share that we do have a number of constantly updated resources about all things COVID on our website, and I've dropped that link in the chat for you as well. Everything from renter resources to the actual mandates that have come out, what kinds of things are considered essential services, blog posts, everything. It's all in one place for you, so I've dropped that link for you as well. And also, we do have our first virtual Tapas and Topics coming up. Trisha worked really hard with our hosts at putting that together, and we have a guest who's going to be sharing about wellness concepts. An actual wellness coach is going to be sharing how to keep yourself well during this crazy time. And so you can join our virtual Tapas and Topics. We're going to have breakout rooms and everything is going to be as social as we can make it. You can have your own cocktail with you if you want. Nobody's judging you on that. But it will be more of a meeting format, so we will be able to share videos with each other and talk with each other. So I have, I'm going to post the link for the Tapas and Topics event for you as well here. You can find that on our website too. And with that, oh, there is one. Did we grab the one? Oh, thank you, Sloan and Andrew. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, with that, we're going to wrap it up. Any final comments, Andrew?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me, and good luck, everybody, with sort of the rapidly changing environment and doing your best to keep up with all the latest changes, just as we all are. So if you want to see the next level of data trends for next week, go on our website. There's a little bar at the top where you can register for our webinar series that we've been doing. And yeah, we'd love to have you.
Well, we appreciate that so much. Also, just a final reminder, if you are registered, anybody of your teammates are registered, we're sending an email out as a follow-up that'll have Andrew's slides from today and a recording of this presentation. So just watch your inboxes for that. We'll get that right out to you. Everybody, go wash your hands and have a great afternoon.
See you, everybody.